Oh yeah, it's been a while. But now I'm going back to the Sonic the Hedgehog series. God, looking back at my old Sonic reviews, I can tell ya, I definitely had no idea what I was doing. And that's especially apparent to my original Sonic Adventure review, a video that was so bad that I actually took it down. I honestly have no footage or finalized version of the review at all, so it's just lost the time. When I first looked at Sonic Adventure, I got a lot of basic information wrong, along with my memory of the game being very fuzzy because I didn't actually replay it before doing the video. But with Sonic Mania coming out soon and other games being released since I last looked at the franchise, I thought it would be a perfect time to go back into the series with a re-review of the first game I ever looked at. Sonic Adventure was the series' first foray into the 3D realm for the character back in 1998. Following after his rival Mario, Sega decided to change the formula to fit the transition, but unlike Mario, gave it a narrative to reinforce the gameplay. And I feel that decision's what made Sonic go in the direction that he did. And that's what we're going to be looking at today, the catalyst that framed Sonic's entire identity in 3D. So how does this initial game hold up? That's what we're here to find out. This is Sonic Adventure! You are Sonic the Hedgehog. A mysterious creature named Chaos is awakened by Dr. Eggman. After confronting him in Station Square, Sonic meets up with Tails and discovers that the creature gets stronger with every gem it collects, called Chaos Emeralds. It is up to you to collect the Chaos Emeralds to stop Eggman and Chaos from taking over the world. For a game about a fast blue hedgehog and a fat mustached man, this game takes itself very seriously. Sonic himself is a very fun character, being exactly the person we thought he was when we saw him in 2D. While the writing by far is nowhere close to a masterpiece, it still manages to be pretty fun at times. Something that's really cool is that every character has a unique perspective about the main events of the game. Having multiple perspectives really brings a sort of depth to the story of the game. But not only different perspectives, every story has their own theme following the character. Tails' story is about facing your fears. Knuckles is about accepting who you are even if you don't exactly know why. Amy is about standing up for yourself. Gamma is about the importance of duty and family. And Big the Cat is about being a giant waste of game data. Every story leads to a very personal character arc. Then this little purple shit shows up just screaming, "Froggy, Froggy, 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 Froggy." The game's story isn't perfect, and the writing is far from solid, but it serves its purpose adding a sense of urgency to each level, which is something like future platform games like Ratchet & Clank started implementing for their levels. It makes even the worst designed levels have a sense of urgency because of the adrenaline pumping through your veins. But at the same time, the story is very disjointed. Every story tailors the cutscenes to put the character in charge of the action, which really doesn't mesh well with the theme the game attempts to give the characters, with a major issue being with Tails. In Sonic's story, we have Sonic doing everything and Tails in the background. But in Tails' story, Tails takes Sonic's role. We see him beating the bosses, we see him gathering the Chaos Emeralds. It really conflicts with the message of the story that Tails is afraid to do things without Sonic, when we prove that he is perfectly capable of doing everything himself. While the story itself is serviceable, I'm not going to say it's what keeps me coming back to this game, but it is also not the worst thing about this game. This game is built on a single philosophy, transitioning the excitement of the 2D level design into the 3D. And for the most part, it does a great job. The game's level design is very cartoony and alive, each one looking like a level straight out of Sonic 3. It is a fantastic sense of adventure with every level, and it is perfect. Which makes it weird when you look at the other half of the game. Half the game is set in a pretty realistic open world. There's a very odd disconnect between the basic world and the zany levels. Like, look at Twinkle Park.
Look! It says cute couples can get in free!
See, the dialogue right there connects the loony level design as a cute couples theme park. While it makes for a fun and imaginative level, it doesn't really work in the world that the game is trying to create. But despite that, the game looks pretty damn good for the time. The aesthetic of all the levels are fantastic, and the design of the characters are an incredible update from their 2D counterpart. But despite that, they're animated terribly. Whenever they talk, it's just unnerving. It's like watching your grandfather have a stroke and not knowing what to do. And that, coupled with the voice acting, makes everything even eerier. As someone who does love this voice cast, this is not why I love them.
What's going on here? Oh no! Something's happened to the Master Emerald! Huh? Who are you? Did you do this? Oh, I'll get you for this!
The voice acting here is absolutely terrible. Everyone is so flat and so uninterested in their own delivery. It feels rushed and everyone just sounds bored. The world is ending and everyone's acting like they're a cardboard cutout. But that's the only real negative of the sound design. The level music and sound effects are just pure awesome. The music sounds adventurous and fast for every level, matching the speed of the gameplay. And the sound is just reimaginings of the classic sound effects from the 2D games, which is exactly what this game aims to invoke. Nostalgia. For a launch title and a new console generation, there are aspects that do hold up pretty well, but others are just straight up nightmare fuel. With the 6 different characters that we have 6 different styles of gameplay. Sonic's speedy gameplay is the highlight of the game. It's so fast and so frantic that you can't help but have a mini adrenaline rush every time you start one of his levels. Each one is a linear adventure that expects you to get to the goal line. The only real negative of his gameplay is the camera and how slippery the controls feel. When moving like this, it feels like you're doing this. The game itself has trouble handling its own speed, and above that, you're going to be fighting the camera the entire time. This game's camera is far more evil than Eggman could ever hope to be. You are going to have at least 3 deaths because of this camera. That's just an absolute fact. Tails' levels are pretty similar to Sonic's. The objective is to actually beat Sonic in a race, but because you can fly using his Tails, the trick is finding shortcuts. And that's why I love playing as Tails. He feels so broken that it feels like cheating to get to the goal line. I can do the entire first level without ever touching the ground. Knuckles switches the approach into a more open world style. There are 3 emerald pieces that need to be found in the levels, and it's up to you to find them using only the radars on the bottom of the screen. And this is probably my second favorite style after Sonic himself. Amy's next, and hers is kind of where everything starts to get a little stale. Rather than the high-speed action of the other characters, Amy is very, very slow. Along with getting to the end of the level, her goal is to avoid capture from the robot Zero. After the high-speed intensity of the other characters, switching to Amy is very jarring. She has a hammer that, unless you're going top speed, stops her dead in her tracks. When starting her story, you have to relearn the game because you get so used to the slipperiness of the controls that when switching to her, the controls feel like an entirely different game because of how precise they are. Gamma's style of gameplay is a mix between a shooter and a platformer. The best way to describe it is a very unrefined version of Ratchet & Clank. The goal is to get to the end and beat the boss before the time runs out. It's much different than what you would expect from this kind of game, but still fits the style. Unlike Big the Cat. Seriously, this just seems like a failed demo for Sega Pro Bass Fishing or something. Each level is more or less just a small pool and that's it. You have to go fishing. 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 That's it. It's slow. It's pathetic. It's literally the exact opposite of what works.
Froggy can't be in the world out there. Froggy never did anything wrong. I gotta find Froggy. Froggy! Froggy!
Usually with games like this, I would say it doesn't matter because it's optional, but no, it's required. Something that becomes a tradition in the Sonic 3D series is the inclusion of a last story, an epilogue that ties everything together. So to get the full adventure of this game, you need to spend at least an hour and a half fishing. Why this is a part of the game, I'll never know, so just pour yourself a drink and fight through it. Before you start yelling at me, play the game again. Sonic Adventure, at its best, is a passable game. I still like the game, and unlike other games in the franchise, it's actually playable. But if you say that this is your favorite game, I urge you to take off your nostalgia goggles and play it again. The story is fun, but very basic. Out of the 6 gameplay styles, 2 are fantastic, 2 are passable, and 2 are just a slog to get through. The music is fantastic, but the opposite has to be said about the animation and the voice acting. At its very best, it's a harmless game. On Steam, the game is fairly cheap, but for $2 more, you can get a much better game in Sonic Adventure 2. In the sequel, everything that's great about this is vastly improved. The returning styles are improved, the camera's improved, story, script, music, everything is improved on. Unless I'm doing a marathon of the series, I never go back to this. I always jump to Sonic Adventure 2. I'm not saying that this game is without its merits. It's a fun piece of history. But that's all it really is at this point. History. It created a framework for what Sonic would mean in 3D. And many elements that are present in this game still hold true in the more recent games of today. At most, this is a beta of where the rest of the franchise would go. The game is something people mostly praise because of nostalgia, because at the time this was groundbreaking stuff. But to people who didn't grow up playing it, there's nothing really special about this game. I know I'm not going to sway anybody's opinions on this, and I still love this game because it holds a very special place in my heart. But I can also recognize that it isn't the masterpiece that I once thought it was. Is that going to stop me from loving the game? No. But I wouldn't recommend this game as one to introduce somebody to the franchise to.
I don't know what it can be, but you drive me crazy.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more reviews, then click the playlist to see my other stupid opinions. Alright, see you next video.